If I would ask 10 engineers if their data platform is secure, I would probably get about 5 different answers in terms of how secure it is. And even more than that, let me quickly run an experiment and show you this diagram. So I just googled data platform security architecture, and the very first picture was this one. So take a look at this picture and tell me if this data platform is secure or not. Or maybe this one, another one with a data bricks in the middle. So how secure is this system? Well, it is really hard to say, right? And that is a problem. We have security frameworks for applications, and if you followed my channel, I touched base on DSOM, level 1 and level 2. So basically we have those security frameworks for similar to DSOM like CIS for applications. And we have cloud benchmarks that are available from pretty much all of the public cloud providers. But data platforms, as we saw from my last playlist, they have their own unique risks. It's not only about their identities, but on top of that, different ETL or ALT pipelines and how to track the lineage of the data and the separation between the data workloads and analytical workloads. And after that, something more of a similar, like a cross-environment movement of stuff. And the sensitivity or different levels of sensitivity of data, all of that, it builds up a different flavor of security that is required for the data platforms. And we kind of explored it in my last series, but in this series I want to build something bigger, and I want to build it together. A security maturity framework specifically for data platforms. So something similar to DSOM, but for the data platforms. And it wouldn't be just a schema, because it's pretty easy and self-explanatory, but I want to build an AI system capable of reviewing those architectures. So those pictures that I started with, imagine that you would be able to feed it to your agent and get some sort of a estimation of how secure is your platform and what to do next. Let's start with the very beginning and what I want to achieve with this thing. And basically what I want to have is some sort of a DSOM-like framework with, well, circular diagram, which is a common one, and we would be able to split the whole maturity model into different sectors. So right now, and this is not a final product, it's just the first version of it to showcase something, we have testing and availability of those tests for the data platform. After that we have the governance and policy section or category, and data security practices, the monitoring and incident response, how the development is done, what is the maturity for the deployment, and the last but not least, the education and guidance. Basically, how easy it is to onboard a new person to the data platform and get them running. As with DSOM, you can select individual elements of the category. So for example, for the tests, for the level 1, I decided to add the security testing. So, and the level 1, the closest to the center circle, it is the baseline of the category or the base level. Basically level 0, which means most of the time that you have ad hoc processing. After that, and that would be for the security testing, so there is no formal security testing of data pipelines or platforms, and security assumed to be handled by the platform. So in other words, someone else's problem, not yours. Whereas with level 2 is that you actually have some basic security testing, those are performed, but often in a manual way, and it's not part of the regular testing cycle that you cannot deploy something until you automatically test everything. And well, once again, I'm jumping, but the idea of that framework is that you should be able to evaluate at which level you are. So for example, for the level 1, if there is no testing at all, but at least the platform is doing security testing, you can mark something as done. And after that, it just makes sense to go on and try to implement something for level 2. And what I envision is that in this framework there would be multiple levels of maturity, starting from level 0, where it is basically the absolute minimum or even lower than absolute minimum to be comfortable with your system, and then growing up and up to enterprise level of category to be implemented from the security perspective. So for example, in the data security practices for level 2, I want the data to be encrypted, but in level 1 is that you just use something that is a default for your platform. So it is possible to highlight different levels and say that we have implemented something over here and then we implemented something over here, but it makes sense in this picture to focus on something from the level 0, and try to implement this before you jump for the stars. So this is a basic idea of this circular framework that I want to build, and please comment if you have any bright ideas in terms of what should be the content. I will touch base on the content of this framework in the next video of this series, and now I wanted to share the bigger picture what I want to build. As I mentioned in the beginning, I basically want to build an agent, AI agent on top of this framework, and that framework is very flexible, so it can be changed. Actually, let me jump to the code base and show how it is implemented. Pretty much you have your HTML page over here, and then in a JSON format I have my framework described with different categories, so governance and policy, and for level 1 I have those bits. So for the governance and policies, where is it? Here we have 3 bits that are available for the implementation in level 1, but it can change, and all of that is configurable. So if we would update the content of the JSON file, it would automatically update the framework itself. And the idea is that the framework can be adjustable and can be updated for different organizations, or maybe just as a general idea what to recommend. But on top of that, the AI agent should be able to be trained on that framework and different options to implement certain steps and parts of the category for each individual level. And then that agent can recommend what to do. So instead of someone going and looking at the architecture diagram or the bunch of documents on a Confluence page, it should be possible to feed all of the documentation and reference architecture into the agent, and it will evaluate it against this framework and come up with basically a measure of the platform on this framework. So it would automatically say that you are all 5s in terms of your categories and there is nothing to do, or the opposite, that it is mostly on level 1, and if you want to go to level 2, the best and the lowest hanging fruit is to implement security tests in some way. And as I said, this is just my vision. In terms of the framework itself, I have the structure, I have some ideas what I want to implement, but I don't want to stop just at the chat level, and I want to build this framework and those agents together with you, or at least on a camera, and we will see where this ends up.